Bertrand Russell said, "One of the symptoms of an approaching nervous breakdown is the belief that one's work is terribly important." America's work culture centers around always being on the grind, which has negative effects on our physical, mental, and emotional health. Taking a gap year or any sort of break will help us make progress toward normalizing rest, prioritizing ourselves, and gaining self-awareness, which will have positive impacts on our health, our relationships, our overall quality of life, and it will help us dismantle the giant that is capitalism. A phrase I heard from a lot of adults growing up is, "You can't do it all." And I have actually found that if I put my mind to it, I can do it all. I can perform every task that is asked of me if I really want to. And because of this, I used to believe that if I wasn't getting everything done every day, it was because I wasn't trying hard enough, or I was just being lazy. And I developed a lot of anxiety and burnout because of that. I took a gap year after high school, and I learned how to honor my needs and my wants. And I discovered what I wanted my life to look like, and probably saved myself a couple thousand in student debt as well. Today I will cover hustle culture and capitalism and why they're bad for our health. I will go over the importance of taking a break when we need it and why that is so good for our health. And I will suggest gap years as the best way to completely regain control over our lives. Capitalism is an economic system that values profit over quality of life. The pandemic exposed this when it forced essential workers to choose between keeping their jobs and being exposed to the virus and staying home and being healthy and losing their income. And this not only shows us that hustling isn't a choice for some people, but also that companies and employers value their businesses being open and making money more than it values the health of their employees. One of the biggest causes of stress in our life is our workload. 40 hours a week is a full-time job, and it's more when you count getting ready for work and commuting to work. We are told, and it is ingrained in our heads, that we need to work in order to be valued. And the longer and harder we work, the better chance we have of outshining our employees or our competition. And this not only leaves us feeling unsatisfied, but also burnt out and discouraged. This kind of overextension physically gives us a racing heart, sleeplessness, and shortness of breath. We start to lose concentration and gain irritability, and anxiety and depression follow not long after that. We start to engage in escapist behavior like drinking or gambling or shopping, or even a seemingly harmless phenomenon called revenge bedtime procrastination, which journalist Daphne Lee describes as an attempt to regain a sense of one's personal life after work by exchanging sleeping hours for additional free time. We can all relate to wanting to wind down after work with a book or a TV show, but as we lose more of our day to the expectations of others and to our work, we feel less in control of our lives, and we try to regain that control by staying up later, and lack of sleep has direct negative effects on our health. Now that we understand the negative aspects of overworking ourselves, I will emphasize self-care as a way to combat the negative ideals perpetuated by capitalism. Taking a break of any length will benefit our health, work performance, lifestyle, and relationships, and shifting our mindset to a focus on self-care can reverse all of those negative effects of overworking ourselves, and it will help us determine what we are actually passionate about. First, we need to take a minute, a day, a week, a month, or a year to decide what success looks like for each of us individually and not for our employers. And then we need to start reclaiming our days one at a time by calling in sick to work when we're too stressed to handle it, We don't need to wait for a special occasion to eat something or dress up or go out. We need to start speaking up for ourselves when the situation calls for it, and we need to indulge in life because there's no greater special occasion than being alive. Our health is more important than our jobs and even than our goals. We default to a goal-oriented mindset where we believe that as soon as we reach this specific goal, all of the little problems will be easier and better managed, and we start killing ourselves to reach those goals. And I have found that not only does that make my goals harder to reach, but when I get there, it doesn't feel worth all the stress that I just put myself through to get there. If we don't enjoy the journey, the destination isn't worth it. Now that we can identify the benefits of prioritizing ourselves, I'll introduce a gap year as the best way to take back control of our lives. A gap year is a way to prevent burnout, increase our maturity and self-awareness, and to take a well-deserved break. It is not a vacation, as Jane and Jason Sauerhan defined in their article, Your Goals, Your Life, Your Gap Year. It is a focused, finite period of time in which an individual takes a deliberate break from their academic or professional path in order to explore other interests. Gap years can take many different forms depending on your personal needs. You can volunteer or get an internship abroad. You can work in exchange for room and board. You can take a virtual gap year or even travel domestically. The difference between a gap year and a vacation is structure. A gap year needs purpose and meaning, which is what will catalyze that growth that comes out of it. And it doesn't have to be 2 years backpacking across Europe. You can travel across the country or even to the next state over or next town over, as long as it's a break from your rigorous routine to find out if you're on the right path, to discover new things and people, and to define your limits. Burnout happens fastest when you are putting effort towards something that you're not sure you even want in the first place. And today's sheer variety of career options means that we need more confidence and self-knowledge in order to enter the workforce than we used to. And so taking a break, some time away from that pressure of working all the time, will give us some quiet reflection and a chance to discover what we actually want to do without being rushed into making a decision. So today we covered the ideals of capitalism and hustle culture and how harmful they are to our mental health, why taking breaks will stop that and improve our health, and gap years and why they are the best way to help us decide what we want our lives to look like. Dedicating most of our waking hours to a system that wouldn't do the same for us is more harmful than we think it is. And together we need to make dramatic changes toward prioritizing our mental health and our life passions above everything else. And the best time to start is now. So take a deep breath and focus on yourself because you can't pour from an empty vessel.